Hello, have you ever wondered how it works that some elevators park between floors when they are not in use? I have filmed some elevators which are placed on my channel, which are locked off and you need a key if you want to call them, and if they are not in use, they park between floors. Finally, I have managed to get into the motor room of one of the elevators that actually does this, so I can now show you how this works with an old logic. I've recently been to Stuttgart and just returned with quite a lot of old-fashioned elevators. In some sort of office building, I found these two classics from the 60s. These are traction elevators built by Filler and Knörzer, a now defunct elevator manufacturer from the region. As we talk about the logic of these elevators, it is still original from when they have been built. This is a classic arrangement of one smaller and one bigger elevator, like you could find it on many of these medium-sized office buildings. Although their cabs have been modernized, there are still some pretty good leftovers from the 1960s. The left elevator is open to the public. It has got some renewed cab, some late 90s fashioned domino button panel and inner doors. The bigger freight elevator almost looks the same, but there are no inner doors and no photocells, so it feels much more classic after all. In this video, the first thing we are going to do is to visit the motor room. I wasn't alone, by the way. This was a trip with 3 people. Say hello to German elevator guy and Vintage Lift Tech, previously known as LiftBoy92. Their channel links can be found in the description. These two elevators have got a classic floor selector, which appears to be an exact miniature copy of the actual elevator running up and down the shaft. There is something special about the bigger elevator. It is locked off and you need a key to call it, as it is meant to be a freight and passenger elevator. If it's not in use, it parks between floors. The logic isn't advanced enough to lock the shaft doors when the lift is in idle, so it will always unlatch it, which allows anyone to enter the cab and ride it. This is what I have put an additional virtual floor into the logic to prevent this. The way they have done this is very simple. There's an additional switch being placed at the floor selector. You can see it here, located between the switches for the ground and the first floor. As you can see, the elevator is at the parking position right now, yet it is now parked between floors. Let's take a closer look into the logic cabinet. To the left, you can see the RZP1 time-controlled relay. This counts a certain amount of time before sending an impulse for the parking command. The second row of relays is reserved for floor selection. The RAP relay is used for parking, so it is this relay that's activated from the RZP1 alongside other relays that send the elevator in motion. This elevator is able to collect commands. At the time we created this video, we didn't figure out if the RZP1 time-controlled relay only sends out an impulse if the elevator is in idle, or if it always does, which would cause it to add a parking command to the key line every time it activates. Also, the relay for the parking floor is situated between the first and the second basement, rather than the ground and the first floor. There is a possibility that this elevator used to park between the basement floors in the past. This is only confirmed by the switches at the floor selector. If you take a closer look, you can see that they are newer than the rest of them, so they might have been replaced and added on later. However, at the time this video came out, we didn't know. Alright, that's it for this video. If you want to see me riding the elevators, there will be 2 separate videos for this. The links can be found in the description. I think it was pretty nice to see how that parking between floors works in the elevator logic, finally. Newer elevators usually don't have that, and the same also applies for old elevators being modernized. They usually just lock the shaft door without moving off. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.